Welcome everyone to Alcoholically Correct. I am JB. I'm joined today and always by
Zach, here to tell you what you're wrong about today.
Of course, always. How you doing, Zach? How's the week been?
It's been pretty good. How about with yourself? Anything? You're back at work
I'm back
now.
at work. So my first day out working in the public. So for 8 hours at a indoor-outdoor resort walking people. I don't know if, dropping names of where you work or whatever. But I was walking indoors and outdoors for 8 hours minus a lunch break. I wore a mask the whole time. Now, I will give my company credit. You kind of know where I work from previous weeks. Best mask I've ever worn. Super lightweight. I know that they made it with the right stuff as far as the whatever filters and all. They even have this little thin nose bridge that you put over to hold down so that the fog doesn't hit your glasses, because I'm waiting to get contacts. Ooh. And all. Yeah. So it was good. But my point being, I didn't pass out. I didn't thirst to death. I didn't suffer.
I don't know that I thirsted to death, actually. Right. That's what happened.
That's right.
I just straight thirsted to death.
R.I.P. to me. And then I died. That's how the day ended. No, but anyways, it was good. It was good to be out and about. It was kind of a new normal, but it felt a little normal, which in 2020 is kind of an achievement, I suppose. So,
right. Even the slightest bit of normal is all we can actually hope.
How about you? Anything new? Just working and jobs and
things. Yeah.
Nothing big, nothing crazy.
Nothing too crazy, no.
You did just watch a game earlier today. I know you were pretty excited about.
I did watch one of my favorite teams. I don't think I need to necessarily say the name, but they're a college football team. They went 1-0 this week. The same thing as last week. So that's 2 weeks in a row of 1-0.
Didn't we talk in depth about UCF last week? Was that not a...
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely,
yeah.
We did.
You just didn't want to name drop? You don't want to jinx them?
No, not at all. They're winning. I would hate to name drop in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, man. Remember, some people are only listening to the podcast. So, I got to...
That is true.
The glass only works for our YouTube audience. Speaking of YouTube, podcast, all that, please like and subscribe wherever you're listening. I do got to drop that somewhere here in the beginning. But anyways, did you want to go over drinks before we get into topics?
Absolutely.
What you got?
I'm going to go ahead and let you know I'm starting with the Killer Whale Cream Ale, brewed up in Jacksonville, Florida, by the Bold City Brewery.
Interesting. Okay.
Really nice, really light. You'd love this beer.
Good to know. I might have to try it then. Yeah. So, and it's local, like you said, basically. So it should be easy enough to get.
And it's also called Killer Whale Cream Ale, which is just a lot of fun to say.
Well, and it also sounds like my kind. It sounds delicious, which I like delicious beers. Speaking of delicious beers, I went, very small brand, very, independent brewer, local, if you happen to live in Canada. I'm drinking my favorite drinking beer, so to speak, my bar beer, which is Blue Light. So Labatt Blue. But yeah, and then I'm back
but not even Labatt Blue though. You went for their cousin, the light.
Can I tell you, I love both. I like the light better. I can't explain it to you. It's an enjoyable drinking beer. And you kind of are heading two of our three topics today, so I kind of knew I had the opportunity to just sip along and enjoy learning some. So I thought I should have a good drinking sipping beer, and this is what I landed on. But anyways, and then I'm just shooting up rum again. I'm back to the rum's not gone anymore.
There you go. I'm back to vodka.
All right.
Still, I'm still with vodka.
Back to
I had that 1 week of...
Are we on? Is this episode, I know, 9, I think?
I don't count.
I'm going to have to keep
I have
count,
a thing that counts for me.
I keep talking up episode 10. I hope this is an episode 10 for whoever's at home looking over the list on the podcast. Because I keep talking up. We got to have something special to shoot and stuff on that point. So
Jaeger.
Yeah, there you go.
Jaeger.
So Jaeger for you. Gold Schnapps for me, I think was the... No, not Schnapps.
Oh, God.
Goldschlager.
Yeah, it was Goldschlager, which is probably Schnapps. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Schnapps is its own, hell. But anyways, okay.
Separate, yeah.
All right, well, speaking of shots, should we get one going and get on the first topic?
Sure. Sounds great.
All right, I will salute. Cheers.
Oh, boy. Whew.
Oh, Captain, my Captain. All right.
That one kicked me a bit.
Yeah, I gotta admit, the rum, especially after the last few weeks, is sipping on that, shooting that JB Fire, has It's definitely our YouTube audience gets to see a little bit of my, oh yeah, no, I like that fine face when I didn't enjoy shooting or sipping on something. Anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start us off. First, let me get a sip of my beer.
I mean, you got to wash out that flavor of just burning in your mouth.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because mine was just straight burning.
Yeah, a little gasoline-y. No, Captain's good.
Yeah.
Just like I say, I think it's just a switch for me from the last few weeks. But anyways, so I meant to do this a week ago. Yeah, I meant to do this topic a week ago. I missed it, so I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I did a little research on the Hawaiian alphabet. I know it had come up.
Because of the storms. We said 21 storms. You said, what is it? The Hawaiian alphabet. And I went, I don't know that the alphabet works that way.
Right. Oh, that's right.
It does. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. And I said, you could talk about that topic later.
Yep.
So now we're going to talk about that topic.
Let me get the exact numbers. I do have some notes here from my research.
Ooh.
I know. Big deal for sure. I think it's 13. I hope that's right.
Yep.
13 letters total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you couldn't have 21 named storms with 13 letters.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't work, would it? You could like double up. It's like when you do like a password for a company password or something, you have to keep changing the number, and then you gotta like...
You just put a 1 at the end of them?
Yep,
so first it was Hurricane
3.
Andrew, then it was Hurricane Andrew Bang, or Andrew exclamation point.
Aaron. Hurricane Aaron. But no, so it is... How many? It's 7 consonants, and then of course 5 vowels. So you have A, E, I, O, U. And then the consonants are H, K, L, M, N, P, W. And
oh, wait. So there is no sometimes Y. They got rid of the sometimes
Y. Y doesn't even exist. They said why ask why. That's what they wanted to know. So, and basically what happened was, because Hawaii was an island in its own right, which could be a...
Wait, hold on. It was an island?
It was an island, right.
Oh my gosh.
Before we moved it over and connected it at the hip of California. Isn't that how I haven't been to Hawaii. I just assumed that's not how it works. But anyways, okay, so it was its own country, I guess I should say. They had their own kingdom of Hawaii.
They were their own sovereign nation.
There you go. And, Europe and America kind of moved in on that. They were like, oh, this place is beautiful. We'd like it.
I've never heard of anybody in a Western country doing that.
No, I know. It was totally outside their nature. It just tells you how amazing Hawaii is because, they totally did something. No, the story is kind of interesting as far as how Hawaii came to be a state and the kind of the coup d'etat, so to speak, to take over Hawaii. That's not the topic, though. I wanted to talk more about the language and the letters itself because there was a really interesting story that I uncovered about the language. So first of all, basically what happened was European missionaries had found Hawaii. Founded, no, because there were people there. And they had this Hawaiian language that they spoke at the time. And they had no...
Was it called... Go
ahead.
Just out of curiosity, do you know? What is the name of the actual language?
I think I know the alphabet. I wrote down the actual name. It was like Payapa. That's the letter or the name of the Hawaiian alphabet. I don't know the name of the language other than the Hawaiian language because here's what happened. Basically, we not created it, but we put it down on paper. Not we, Europe, but Europe also is how we got here. So, more or less.
We'll take ownership of that.
There you go. So,
was it a bunch of white people?
Bunch of white people.
That's kind of all right. Yeah, that's us.
So these missionaries moved in, and at first they were just kind of like introducing the world, so to speak, to Hawaii and yada yada yada. They helped, and I guess they did this a lot when they would find these areas like this. That they helped them write down essentially the Hawaiian language, and one of the big things of their mission was to go and turn the language of the area, translate the Bible into that language. It took like 7 years for them to both illustrate, so to speak, the language, come up with the 13 letters and all that, and to write this Bible, to translate it. And that's how they that was one of their big accomplishments, so to speak, of saying like, wow, we've successfully missionaried.
That's kind of crazy.
We have a different meaning for missionaried now, but anyways.
So they started as like an anthropologist who studied the local religion, local languages, and then they said, "All right, cool. Now we know what you did. We're gonna take away all of what you've done and replace it."
Speaking of which, after we took over, I swear we didn't rehearse this. This is perfect.
I don't feel good about my joke anymore.
So after we took over, I will say the story of how we took over is, at least compared to how, Native Americans were treated in America and stuff like that, is way less tragic in that way. But that's a different story for a different day, as I keep saying. Once we had control, Europe, and then it was kind of in the process of becoming a state. It was part of the plan of the takeover, but it didn't happen immediately. In 1896, they actually banned the native language from all school curriculum. So they tried to kill the language, essentially. Here's what's crazy. Most people know a little bit of Hawaiian, like like mahalo or something like that. Like there's just words you hear, and obviously if you watch like movies have it. If you go to Hawaii, a ton of them speak it and at least use like phrases from it, all that. The language was almost dead by the 1970s. And in the 1970s, they found a handful of people that still spoke it fluently. And it was actually, so activists were trying to bring it back, but they realized rather than try to put it into the school curriculum again and try and win that battle, so to speak, of why it never should have been taken out, they decided we need to just start younger. We need to go preschool and teach it to preschoolers. So they built preschools to teach it. And this radio show, though, is one of the things that kind of sparked the national interest amongst activists, because they had this old woman on who spoke who spoke the language and who was sharing it. And like I say, like literally it just kind of spread like wildfire through the island again. And you look at it now, and part of the appeal of Hawaii is that it's its own, even though it's America, it's its own like paradise of America, so to speak, because of the nativity of it, so to speak. I don't know if that'd be the right way to say it, but you know what I mean? That native feel of what was there, not what we turned it into, so to speak. And they tried to kill that. It was a radio show and a bunch of young activists building preschools that brought it back. And look how widespread from the 70s now to the 2020s and pretty much our whole lives.
Yeah, it reminds me of the ancient, or the Navajo language. I believe that the Navajo language was another one we tried to kill off.
Was it?
In the US.
Interesting.
And there were so few people who spoke the language that they started using it, I think it was in World War II, over the radio as an encrypted like version of things. They would just speak in plain like Navajo. It was one of the Indian languages.
Yeah.
I don't remember much. But they would just speak their native language, and they couldn't crack it because it's an actual like fully spoken evolved language on its own.
That's crazy.
It's not like they're translating. So the Germans couldn't figure it out.
Wow, no, that's crazy. Yeah, so and that's the thing that happened a lot, where we went in, we learned the language, and then it sounds like, now I didn't know this part of it, but it sounds like maybe more than once we tried to kill the language. We were like, okay, now that we know that, you can never speak it again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
sounds about right.
But so I don't know. I mean, that was my research. I felt like that was worth sharing. It felt like those were some interesting details that I had never heard of.
Definitely. No, that's actually really cool. It kind of explains names like Tua Tagliova or whatever.
Yeah.
Tua Tagliova. The same. You have the same letters just repeated over and over and over.
It's literally it was meant as a means to simplify the language when they were trying to create it. So they did it on purpose to make it easier. But it's funny because it kind of complicates some words for people who speak kind of the more, whatever you want to call it, English, like, I don't know, Americanized English.
You mean English?
Yeah.
People who speak English.
People who speak English. I guess that's true. It is its own language, which I didn't realize, but
yeah.
But yeah, no. So it just, like I say, it was really interesting to me, especially because they still share the same letters as we do. So it's like, how did that happen?
Well, and it makes sense because they didn't have letters to begin with, and we
brought them.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I did not know any of that.
We brought them Sesame Street. Sesame Street's been around for a few hundred years, I think, at this point, right?
I think so.
Big Bird
Yeah,
taught them all.
yeah.
A-E-I-O-U.
Wait, what year did we end up like take them over or whatever?
I forget the year that it became an actual state. Like I say, I know 1896 was the year that that was the year we outlawed the language. That was
Oh, that's right. That's what I just wanted to hear.
yeah,
that's all I needed.
1896. Yeah,
Perfect.
crazy to think. Right before the
So-
turn of that century, or no, that millennium, right?
Yeah.
No, that century. I can do math.
You know which ones are which.
No wonder I like this Yingling. Yingling. Whoa!
Well then,
I'm gonna do some
yeah,
voiceovers.
yeah.
So, anyways,
Oh boy.
any other thoughts, questions on the
No,
Hawaiian
not
alphabet?
really. That's
No, all right.
really kind of cool.
I'm glad I could share that with you. I figure if I'm teaching you, I'm teaching at least a few of the people who happen to be listening to this. So,
Yeah, no, I never realized that we had completely tried to truly destroy their language. It makes sense, knowing what we've done elsewhere, but still.
That's the thing, too. It's almost like we were mad there wasn't more bloodshed in the takeover, so they were like, well, then we'll just have to wipe out everything about their culture.
Yeah, fine, we're just going to ruin everything.
Fine, we'll take over peacefully, but we're not going to be happy about it. Oh, man. So are you going to move us on to topic number 2, then?
I think I will. Let's take our shot.
I think that sounds like a plan. Salute to that.
Cheers. So, oh man, this vodka is not doing me good today.
I did better on that. You still get a little bit of that kind of sour face that I get when I'm not really enjoying the drink, but I'm not like last time I was a little bit like, whoa, what did I just do?
Yeah.
This is the exact same rum that I was sipping on the first few shows, so I don't know what happened.
Well, this is the same vodka that I've been just shooting back, and I don't know. It's not. I don't like it today, but
not our night.
Whatever.
That's okay.
We keep pushing through.
Yes,
okay, so
speaking of,
yeah, so I kind of wanted to bring up MLMs and pyramids.
yes, please do. Wait, unless you're trying to invite me to one, because I do everything I can to avoid those damn party invitations, and if you sucker me into one on this show, everyone listening's like, click.
So, I actually would like to introduce you to a particular set of I'm joking. So I just want to make it clear. There is a very big difference between an MLM and a pyramid scheme.
Fair.
Right? Pyramid schemes are illegal. MLMs are a legal form of business. The difference between them is one thing and one thing only, though. The only difference between an MLM and an illegal pyramid scheme is the thing that they're selling has a physical presence.
Okay.
That's it. So the corporate structure between a MLM and a pyramid scheme are exactly the same.
No. The one of the times that I have sat through one of those, because they always get your friends and family and then they get you. But anyways, they're not exactly the same, because a pyramid, is a pyramid, right? And it goes from like top, bottom. But this is actually a funnel. This goes down into the person at the top who's still getting all the money. Anyways, go ahead.
Actually, no, they do call it different. They call it an upstream. Instead of saying, the people below you, it's called an upstream team.
One of them had something about a funnel. There was like some funnel. I remember one of them trying
to
tell me. They always have a different, some other triangle shaped thing.
Well, so the whole reason that they work and the idea behind it from a corporate structure, same thing between a pyramid scheme and MLM. The thing that they share is their corporate structure. So you have the people at the top who get people underneath of them who then contribute to a product, either buy it or sell it. But then those people under them who buy and sell a product.
Yeah.
And down and go. And everybody takes their cut of whatever the product is.
Yeah.
What makes a pyramid scheme different than a MLM is that a pyramid scheme doesn't actually have a product. So, for example, when you look at some of the original pyramid schemes, they were for, like, for example, investment funds that didn't actually have a fund. Yeah, everyone's buying in because they all think they're getting. There's nothing.
Bernie Madoff, before Bernie Madoff, and during Bernie Madoff, of course.
Yes, exactly. But that's the difference, is that you get everyone to contribute, and the people under you to contribute, and those people pay the.
Now, would a pyramid scheme and a Ponzi scheme have a differentiation that you know of?
I think the difference between pyramid scheme and a Ponzi scheme purely comes down to the product that they're selling.
Okay.
Like one's an investment scheme versus one's I'm selling you a product type scheme. Could be off.
Yeah,
I didn't know
don't
about Ponzi
well,
scheme.
only because I thought a Ponzi scheme was a financial, like,
I think it's an investment platform.
within a pyramid would still be something a little bit different than maybe straight investment funds. But so it all kind of falls in the same universe.
It's all under the same idea that, everyone can make shit tons of money, except not everyone can.
Yeah.
In fact, when you go into one of those meetings, the first thing that they tell you can make unlimited income. Well, mathematically, no, you cannot make unlimited income. I mean, just based on the premise alone that you have to recruit on people underneath of you to make income.
Right.
The normal ratio to make a break-even point is somewhere around, you have to have 25 people downstream of you. 25 people selling things below you before you start turning a profit.
Yeah.
The problem with that is it's kind of exponential. So somebody somewhere started it and they got 25 people in.
Right.
Then each one of those 25 people on that second tier got 25 people in. It's not really a pyramid so much as a giant plateau with this one little point in the middle.
Right.
It's almost nobody can make money off of it.
We should start alcoholically correct pyramid scheme, or we won't call it that, of course, for legal purposes, and you call it a circus tent. Think about it. It has that one point in the middle, and then it kind of comes out to different points, but it keeps going wide in all different directions. Yep. It's a circus tent scheme. Everyone's happy at the circus. I mean, except, the animals and stuff.
Look, we just have to sell a legal product. I think what we just need to sell is we'll just get some branded beer glasses.
There you go.
And we'll sell them to people below us who will sell them to other people and redistribute it to the people below them. And we take a cut all the way along.
Of course.
So,
well, because there's a registration fee to be able to sell our branded beer glasses.
Don't you even know? But no, so actually that's the second thing I wanted to bring up is that when you're starting to talk about it, you have to worry about the costs to coming into it, right?
Right.
So in order to sell the product, you normally have to own the product. Well, this product is almost always about 6 times over the actual wholesale price.
Yep.
And the commissions you make are nowhere near that.
Nothing.
And actually the commissions you make are based on how many levels below you product was sold.
Right.
So what happens there is that, if you take a look at oil from I think it was Herbalife or maybe it was the guys that make Thieves, which is probably my favorite name for a product. These guys came up with Thieves. It's one of the MLM company. It's huge. Thieves cures it cures cancer. It's stuff people use it to.
Are you saying thieves?
Yes, I'm saying thieves.
So they're just
not
they're
a thief.
straight up
not thieves. It's an essential oil type company. And basically they sell oils and crap for things like disinfecting your fruits.
Yeah.
They sell a version of that. They call it thieves. That's literally what they're calling it.
That's amazing.
They aren't even hiding it. But that type of stuff costs over 6 times what you could buy it for in a regular online retailer with the same ingredients.
Right.
It's over 6 times more expensive.
Which begs the question, if you really want to be pushing products and different things to your friends, family, and all that to make money, wouldn't you find that out, buy it wholesale, and then just try and sell it yourself from some kind of online store?
Whoa, hold on. Are you talking about starting a business?
Crazy idea. No.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, it's insane. So I did a lot of research into this because I hate the basic idea.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's highly manipulative. And when you look at who it targets, unfortunately, the people who need it the most. For example, during pandemics and during the recession of 2008, 2009, MLMs were able to increase by over 50% in size.
Oh, my gosh.
During those years.
Yeah.
And you start to think why, and it's because people are desperate and people need, you don't have a job. What are you going to do? Oh, well, I might be able to make money on this. Honestly, they would have been better taking all of their money and throwing it on a roulette wheel for a 1 roulette spin. And the reason I say that is, say you bought into Amway, your chance of making a profit is 250 times better on a roulette wheel with one spin than it is being an Amway rep.
Oh my God.
250. Well, it's over 250. Now, hold on, though. If you were a new skin...
And think about that. That's Amway. Amway owns a freaking arena right here in the city. Like, I mean, that's a huge company. And you still have, you know, Slingshot chance in hell of making... I don't know if that's a saying, but I'm using it.
It is now.
Slingshot's chance in hell.
I mean, I'm pretty sure a slingshot's going to do fine in hell, but, you know.
I mean, it depends what it's made out of. It might get melted. Anyways, okay, We're going way off track. But my point is, like, of all the MLMs you would think you might make money on, something with such a strong brand name to it in one way or another, you would think like, oh, this is the one, and it's not the one. Or maybe it is. Maybe 250 to 1's actually good odds in the MLM universe.
Well, no, it's kind of one of the worst
okay.
From what I was seeing. Well, it's not one of the better ones. So, new skin, if you were a new skin rep, you have a 50 times better chance earning money on a roulette spin than you do being a new skin rep. So that's another one. Now, Malacula or something like that, whatever the hell that name is. I don't know. I don't recognize it. But you only have a 20 times better odds on a roulette wheel than you do being one of their reps.
Wow.
So, I mean, either way, roulette wheel is a much better way to go.
That's basically what we're getting at here. Is this is a very pro gambling episode of Alcoholically, correct?
Well, hold on. Let me throw you another statistic that's going to match right up with that. Also, I moved on to a Kona Big Wave purely because we were talking about Hawaii.
Nice, I like it. I'm sorry that it didn't line up timing wise. We should have saved Hawaii.
Oh, it's okay. I like my local beer.
We should have saved Hawaii. Instead, we dominated and taken it. Oh, sorry. That's a different topic for a different day. But okay, so wait. So what were we just saying on the... so you had another statistic.
Yeah, it was directly related to gambling. So the FTC, in doing their big research on these types of things, because they do care about people, believe it or not. One of the things they did is they did a poll of 16 accounting firms. And they said, hey, you know, we wanted to look into some of the, into MLMs, and we want to see, you know, what part of their income, what are they turning profit? And this is where it gets kind of bad. So they did that, and they reached out there. They had nobody who turned a profit in their firms. They definitely had people involved in them, but they also had 300 gamblers who turned a profit at the end of the year. Yeah, that's not a good look.
You know,
in fact,
go ahead.
We further done that study, and we did larger studies. 996 people out of every 1,000 people who are involved in an MLM lose money after expenses. 996 out of 1,000 people.
No, I believe it. And like you said, like we've had friends, family, all that, obviously, that have gotten into them. And I mean, manipulative is definitely true because they become like brainwashed with it for a while. Like we joked about this being a fake invite to one of those parties, because if you have anyone in your life that you're close to that's gotten into one, you've seen them trick people almost into going to these parties to pitch them this idea. And it's just the weirdest thing, because it is. It's like somebody, you remember in Batman Forever where they had the tube thing where it like read their brains and all, and it turned them into these like zombies for a while. Like that's what it's like. It does. They go to these meetings like... And they're like, oh, don't you want to be financially independent?
Right. And it's so funny. If like you really want to start your own business, your own small business, go for it. Yeah. There are plenty of ways to make money. I mean, just look at all the people who take product, they source it, they vet it, and then they resell it on eBay. Those people are truly their own business and their own small business. Sure. They're able to take the money in. They control what the pricing is on the products. They control how much of money they make on each sale. Yep. They're actually a small business.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to, and you want to take a brand name, you do a franchise.
There you go.
Because what you're doing with the franchise is you're saying, hey, I want to be involved in your brand. And yeah, I'll follow by your rules, but you know, I want to control and own my own thing.
Right.
MLMs aren't that. MLMs are basically direct marketing cells, like where they just say, hey, here's a book of all of our products, and now you go door to door and sell it.
Right.
Basically, they are the vacuum salesman of old. But the difference is, vacuum salesmen of old actually got money for the things that they sold.
Well, because they were selling vacuums. On the rare occasion someone was buying it, they were selling vacuums. Basically, I'm selling you in an MLM 99 times out of 100. I'm trying to sell you the freaking booklet. I'm trying to sell you that brochure to go sell to your friends. Like, hey, I'm going to sell you 10 of these brochures for this $450 registration fee. And then you can sell the products, but you can also sell the membership and you get other people to
and then you get money from them.
Right.
In fact, actually, Herbalife got sued because of that. So Herbalife was making false claims about how many people were making money, because what they were including there is that people who are quote unquote discount buyers. So, oh no, I only joined because I wanted a discount on the product or something like that. That's who they were. They were basically making claims about that. The FTC filed suit with them. They had to change their entire corporate structure, and on top of doing that, they were fined $200 million because of the false claims they were making. The FTC fined $200 million this company. Dude, you look at how much it cost for the campfires out west when that was started by a faulty PG&E or something like that, and 46 people died.
Oh yeah, we talked about that, right?
And we mentioned it, I think, and it wasn't $200 million that they were fined. Well, they were fined less for literally burning down half a state and killing people than the FTC fined Herbalife, because that's how bad they think it is.
I was gonna say, I don't know who we're mad at in that scenario, the people who decided the fine on the people who killed people, or the people who I'm not totally sure, but they both sound like they suck.
I'm very angry about all of it.
All of the above. Well, and that's the thing too, is so I made the joke about Amway and how they have these arenas and all this stuff. And then Herbalife, think about that. They paid $200 million, right? Almost $250 million in this penalty, on top of the restructure of their corporate, which costs money as well, plus the time. And yet they survived. Herbalife's still around. Amway has all. So what I think the lesson of this subject is, it's not a good idea to join a pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme, or what do you call it? But it is a great idea to start a pyramid scheme or Ponzi scheme of some kind.
Yes. So, So in 1980s, because we were speaking of Amway, in the 1980s, there was a lawsuit done against Amway. So what one of the basically attorney general in Wisconsin was like, fine, screw this, I'm done with them. So they obtained the tax returns for all of the direct distributors of Amway products in Wisconsin. It's about 200 people, which was out of the 220,000. They just did the top 1% of distributors in Wisconsin. They got a breakdown of how much the expenses and stuff were. The average gross profit for those 200, which are the top 1% of Amway's sales rep, was about $12,500 annual gross profit.
Whoa. Now this is the 80s.
But this is in the 80s.
Okay, 12 grand's different in the 80s than it is in 2020.
No, but that's gross. So the problem with gross is you have to subtract income.
Okay.
Or sorry, you have to subtract your expenses.
Cost. Yeah. And
so the average after subtracting the operating costs was negative $900.
Oh. Okay, wait, but this is the 80s. So in fairness, negative $900 in the 80s is way worse than negative $900 in 2020. So I want to balance that out, since I said the other was better. If you were almost $1,000 behind in the 80s, you're not doing well. You're not doing great now, but you're not doing well.
But that's the top 1%. I mean, you see all of these. The other thing that's so funny, you see all those things where where they're like, oh, if I sell X number more, I get a free Corvette, or I get a free Lamborghini, or whatever the heck. You know, you've seen people post about that.
Yeah,
right?
Are you going to talk about the hook on that? Because I know it, but please tell. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, there's a wonderful hook. So what those are is they pay your lease for them. So you sign a lease for this vehicle, and they pay the lease for you. So long as you stay in the bracket that you're in.
Yes.
So you fall out of that bracket for 1 month. Oh, no, this lease is now on you. And, you signed this paperwork for this lease.
Oh, yep.
So you're on the hook for the rest of it.
And it's my understanding from the stories I've heard where I heard that that's what they do. That, I mean to cut you off, but that usually they sign really effed up deals too because they don't care. They sit there and they expect that most of the people who rarely get to that level, as hard as it is to get there, it's harder than ever to stay there because how many of the people that started drop it immediately? So you...
Well, actually, so you talk about the amount of dropping.
Oh, nice.
90% of people who join an MLM quit every year.
Wow.
That's the turnover rate.
Wow.
They don't continue the next year. 90%.
In fairness, one of these weeks I want to do some stock topics because you and I got into the stock market a little bit at the beginning of the pandemic like a lot of people did.
Wait, you didn't ever leave?
Well, no, I didn't ever leave. But I put my money on big stocks and I just said, just sit here. I'll see you in a couple years and see where you're at, whatever's left. Anyways.
Where's the fun in that?
Well, you know. But that's the whole point because 90% of day traders lose their money too. So I was going to say, it just seems like...
But at least they're losing money on the choices that they make.
Okay, sure. But the people losing money on MLMs are also losing money on the money they make.
No, there's a difference.
You missed the bigger part of this. If Trump believes that the economy is the stock market, which is basically what he claims, right? Like, even when it's bad, he's saying we need to get it good because that is the economy. The economy apparently is a Ponzi scheme because 90% of people that participate are losing money all the time and quitting every year. So,
well, that is a sad truth that you just uncovered.
Yeah, the American economy is a Ponzi scheme. No big deal.
So it actually gets worse because now that you just mentioned that, it's actually true. The top 1% of people in the stock markets, their ownership of the stock market has increased year over year, while the retail average Joe's ownership of the stock market has decreased, just like pyramid scheme.
Yep.
I think you've just defined the U.S. stock market. That's crazy.
Wow. How about that?
Holy crap.
I told you missed the bigger point there. You were going somewhere else. And I'm like, no, Zach. We just uncovered something crazy.
Come back.
Yeah.
Come back.
The stock market is the world's biggest Ponzi scheme. That's awesome.
Holy crap. But no, and I mean, so this year alone, the FTC sent nasty grams. Like, not just nasty grams, like, hey, if you don't shut the fuck up right now, I'm going to go ahead and shut you down. 16 letters to 16 different MLMs. So 16 of the different multi-level marketing because they were making claims that their product had coronavirus-related health benefits.
Of course. Yep.
Or because of the fact that now they have a chance of making more money because of coronavirus.
Yeah.
So 16 different MLMs. And these are not small MLMs. These are like the major ones you see out there. That 16 of them had to have a threatening letter from the FTC saying, hey, we literally will shut you down if you don't stop.
Right.
And it's the FTC. We know they're not useful.
I swear, I'm not trying to make this like unbearable for Trump voters every week. I have so many friends, family, and loved ones that are going to end up voting for Trump still. I don't know how, but they are. I know. But I wanted to talk about, has this dude not been with injecting bleach and sunlight up the ass and whatever? I mean, have they not sent him a letter yet and been like, hey, you need to stop talking about that you know how to cure the coronavirus because you don't and you're making it worse? Anyway, sorry.
I don't know, but I think maybe they were going to send him one because of his support of Goya products. Who knows?
Nice.
Oh, boy.
Good gosh.
It's just...
No. So long story
MLMs are
short,
crazy.
if someone wants you to pay to start this business that's not, starting an actual...
No, it's not even that bad.
Go ahead.
So here's what you really need to look at. So if the business that you're going into, some MLMs don't require you to pay into it. Some MLMs, for example, require you that you have to just be a part of the company. So you have to buy one product every month or something like that. But you can use that product to kind of help self-promote. The way that an MLM works is if you're quote unquote working for yourself and yet you don't own anything, that's a problem. B, you have to pay to go into a business. That's a problem.
That's what I said.
And no, it is. That's just the second one. I'm just making sure there's multiple different
go ahead.
red flags. Yeah. And the final one is if you really only make money by if you make money by selling to somebody, selling the process of selling to another person.
Right.
That's if you ever see, now it's different. So if somebody says, hey, if you refer a friend to this company, we'll give you a one-time $50 bonus or $500 bonus. That's not an MLM. If somebody says, if you refer someone to this company, we're going to give you 1% of their profits forever.
Right.
That's an MLM, and get the hell out
Stay
of
away.
it. Because literally the only difference between an MLM and an illegal pyramid scheme is the illegal pyramid scheme does not sell the physical product.
Right.
The corporate structure is the same. And, I mean, just think about it this way. What businesses ever do you have to justify when somebody says, oh, it's a pyramid scheme? Oh, no, this isn't a pyramid scheme.
Right.
How many businesses that aren't a pyramid scheme have to protect themselves by saying, oh, no, we're not a pyramid scheme?
Well, hopefully after this show comes out, the stock market will have to start, some PR saying, we're not a pyramid scheme.
They've already done that. That's have you not heard? Have you not heard what the FDA or the basically the feds have to say constantly? No. Oh, no, we're don't worry, we're propping it up. They're fine. Everything's fine. Oh, yeah.
Keep printing the more money. Printer.
Yeah.
J Powell.
Exactly. But that's what they're doing. They're literally propping it up with it's ridiculous.
The crazy thing with this too, and we're not going to go off on a side tangent, I promise, but is it's on steroids now that they're doing that. But if you look at the deficit inflation over the last 3-4 years, it was like that before too. They were inflating it falsely before this. It just has, now it's been put on hyperdrive.
Well, yeah, when you say hyperdrive, you're talking about 10 times the inflation.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's
inflation
it's
of the stock market, not our inflation.
Right. Yes.
But the money they're putting now, it's just unlimited. It literally was unlimited for a while. So anyway,
it's unlimited quantitative easing.
Yep.
Yes, that's literally the definition of it. Unlimited quantitative easing. It's insanity.
Is there any end date on that, or is that still active?
No, it's unlimited quantitative easing. Don't you fight my unlimited quantitative
it's
easing.
Unlimited by all means. Anyways, all right. Like I say, we're not going on a side tangent.
No.
Anything else? Multi-level marketing, pyramid schemes.
The only other thing is that, unfortunately, it seems to adversely affect certain parts of the population.
Low income.
Those who.
I said low income, low education.
Low income. Low education a little bit, but mostly it's going to be low income bored people. And by bored, I mean stay-at-home moms. I'm not saying they don't do anything. I'm saying that they have more social interaction in terms of they'll check Facebook periodically throughout the day more so, or Instagram, and that's where a lot of them start to self-replicate because they have to maintain the friendships with all the other moms or even stay-at-home dads. They have to maintain all those interconnections because they're kids, and so that's how they're spreading it because. If you actually spread to your actual friends, sometimes lose them.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's just if you look at where it's going, it's what people that they focus on is.
Now you can get lucky. A buddy of mine, a buddy of ours, really, Ross. He got money back from one that he got into for a while. He was in Vima, I think it was called. And they got sued and they lost. And they had to send people money back. And he made, I don't know how much, but he got a check back. So.
But how much did he spend to get
I'm sure he lost money. Oh, there's no doubt that he lost money. I'm not saying get into it
because... So what you're saying is he he got lucky in how much he
Right.
didn't.
He lost
he
a
lost.
little less than he thought he did. Exactly. By the time he finally got it right.
Okay. So it's not that he didn't lose.
No.
It's just that he didn't lose as much as he had originally thought.
But, human psychology is so weird that it was like a year or two after he got out that he got the check. So, in your mind, you've already moved on from all the money you lost. Like, it's 2 years later. So it's like a win. You're like, oh, I got $150. This is amazing. That was the best thing I ever did.
So I got a check in the mail the other day from because my insurance company from last year made too much money. So as part of the ACA, or Obamacare, there was a limit on how much money can turn profit for insurance companies. So the insurance company I was with, that was part of it, because they had a limited profits before. Now, they can only have 20% profits.
Wait. I know that seems funny, but seriously, that's actually impressive. Like, that there was a limit put on. Because all you heard about was how it benefited the insurance companies, which it did. I'm not saying this negates that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's still interesting that they at least put some form of regulation on. Okay, we got to put some kind of clamps
that was
here.
A huge part of it. So 20% is the maximum amount of profit they can earn, which 20% of profit on my health. What? All right. Ignoring that, I got a check in the mail from for like $200. And I was like, oh, wow, I got a check out of the blue for like $200. Oh, wait, how much did I spend on healthcare last year? This means nothing to me.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you're looking at $200. My premiums every month that I paid insurance for was something in the realm of $800 to $900 a month. And then in copays and stuff was something in the realm of $1,300, $1,400 a month.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay,
wait,
cool. But they sent me a check.
I think your math is a little off there. You paid $1,300 to $1,400 a month in copays. Were you at the doctor's a lot?
Hold on.
I know you had.
I was including a one-time ER visit, and I spread it out over the course of the.
Fair enough. No. I appreciate that. I really do. I'm about to have a baby in a month, and I know it's going to cost me thousands of dollars on top of the thousands of dollars I spend on insurance over the years that I almost never utilize because I'm blessed, knock on wood, that we've not had a lot of health issues. But what I'm saying is they're getting all this money, and it counts towards nothing on the amount of money they're going to charge me on top of my insurance for all these copays. Yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
Yep, exactly. when the amount you have to pay is more than the amount the insurance company pays because of the fact that they got discounted rates.
Right.
There's a problem. We got completely sidetracked here. I'm sorry.
No,
that was on me.
You know what? And we need to do a healthcare episode. The fact that we've gone this many, we haven't done healthcare is probably dumb. We need to UBI. We got some subjects we need to cover over the next coming weeks. But yeah, the point being, do a little more research before spending your money.
Yeah, or before, if somebody tells you an offer is too good to be true,
it's actually too good to be true, right?
99.9% of the. Yeah, unless you get it written down in explicit things in a contract that you physically touch, it's too good to be true.
And if they're trying to, you know what? And if they're if it's under the guise of a party and it turns into a business pitch, or if they're asking you to go to like Chili's or Starbucks so they can pitch you on this idea and they're showing you pictures of their paychecks, just walk away. Just tell them, no, I'm good. I'm not interested, because
Again, it comes down to what's on the piece of paper that you'd sign to.
Right.
Does it say explicitly what you're going to earn? No. Okay, that's problematic.
Yep.
But does it say that if I do X in this real line of business, I make a certain amount? Okay, cool. If it says you'll make X if you recruit Y number of people who sell Z number of products, that's when you need
I wanted a little further explanation, because some people would still see it like, oh no, they told me I could make 10 grand a month if I.
Correct. That's the issue, is if you're recruiting other people to do your job, that's when you have a problem.
Yeah. No, it's true. It is true. Unless you're getting paid a salary plus commission to recruit people for a job. That's a different type of job. But again, that's okay. You're getting that salary.
But you're not recruiting people to You're not recruiting people to do your job.
That's a good point too. You're recruiting them for a job, not your job. Very true.
Correct.
Very true.
You have to, if part of a job involves recruiting people to do your job.
You know what? And think about it logically before we move on to this next subject. Disney World does not recruit people to open theme parks. They recruit people to work at their theme park. So they're not trying to make competitors, they're trying to make customers. And so if you are trying to make competitors for you to make money off them, it's not some great community of money makers. It's a multi-level marketing scheme, and you need to step away.
Which is also a pyramid scheme, but it has a product.
Right.
Now that product might be in the case of Ross's thing, a pretend credit card that doesn't quite exist. But
that's a different one. No, I don't know what his involved. He might still be in on that one. That's a different. That's we won't make fun of that one yet. We'll wait until the lawsuit comes for that one, and he gets some random check 3 years from now.
We just put him so much on blast. I thought that was the one we were talking about. And at this point, we've now told Ross, or told the world that he's been involved in multiple.
I know lots of people though. Family members, friends, loved ones. I've never done one.
My dad was in one.
I've never done one. Free and clear. I've never signed up for one.
Because I would literally slap you if you...
Well, okay, but that's fair now, but maybe I would do it without even telling you until after, but yeah, no.
And then I'd still slap you. So, works out either way.
You know, when I was 18, I did this thing. Bam!
You don't learn if you don't get smacked.
Fair enough. That's a different, spankings and all, that's going to be a different episode. I mean, for children, not for adults. That's, make your own choices.
Although that is a different episode.
That's a totally different episode. That's extra alcoholically correct. Anyways, are we ready to start?
We're moving on.
All right, let's move on to subject number 3. Cheers.
All right, cheers. Okay, so the vodka gets no better the more I drink.
Don't let
I thought that was supposed to be how that goes.
That was terrible. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so for topic number 3, I chose a really hard topic to talk about drunk. It is statistics. In particular, it's a thing called Benford's Law.
I'm a huge fan of the Tool Time show, so I mean, I'm all about Benford's Law. Benford's Law.
Wait, no, what?
Binford. I think that's the right name, right?
No, that's Benford. This is Ben, as in Big Ben Ford.
Oh, I didn't study for this subject at all then. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're completely off it.
But the sound, the Tim the Toolman Taylor sound is still appropriate. So it's for, say it one more time. What's the name of the law?
Benford's Law.
Okay, go ahead. That's me being a caveman.
Cool. There you go. You do that. So Benford's Law. It is a statistical anomaly that exists in the universe. Basically, a long way to say, we know that this happens, and we don't really know why. But it has to do with the fact that any sort of series of numbers kind of doesn't matter what they're from. As long as they span, you have some that are tens in the tens digits, some are in the hundreds, some are in the thousands, like multitudes of numbers. They follow a pattern, always, 100% of the time. If the top digit, so say for example, we're talking about the first significant digit. I don't know if you remember from math way back when, but the first significant digit is the first number that appeared.
Okay.
In the thing. The first significant digit, we found, Benford's Law states that the first significant digit, being a 1, happens 30% of the time. The first significant digit being a 2 happens, 17%. Then 3 is 12%. Digit 4 is 9%. 5 is 8%. 7 is 6%. 8 is 5%, and 9 is 4%. So
okay, wait. That didn't add up to 100.
It doesn't. I was rounding numbers.
Okay.
It's
Keep going.
30.1, 17.6, 12.5, 9.7, but that's way too ridiculous.
Are you sure? But that would add up to 100?
100%.
Okay. 100%. Okay. That's the answer to my question. Thank you.
What it is basically the first digit being a 1 happens almost 33% of the time. The first digit being a 9 ends up only about 4% of the time. So it's a scale that goes like in a weird curve downward.
Numbers for what? I know you said for anything, but what?
No, for literally anything. So, for example, for anything. Let's talk about the surface area of rivers in the United States.
Okay.
The surface area of rivers in feet, the first digit being a 1 happens 30% of the time. The first digit being a 9 in that happens 5% of the time. In the surface areas of rivers, when you do it across a big thing.
So the percentages stay essentially the same? Is that what you're telling me?
The percentage of the time, so you have a river that's 1,000 square miles. The next river is 400 square miles. The next river is 10 square miles. Take a look at across the whole data set. The way that it works is that number 1. So, for example, if you look at 1,000, the number 1 is the
I heard that. And then 10, it would be 2. So it was like 2 out of...
And then in 40, it would be 4, right?
Yep. I got that, but so you mean like if you looked at all the phone numbers of the world, right? Or am I going off on a different direction?
Actually, you can't talk about phone numbers. There's a reason for that. But
is it because it disproves this whole thing? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, no, actually, literally, phone numbers are one of the few things that Benford's Law can't handle. Because phone numbers are not naturally occurring numbers. When you look at phone numbers, they're decided outside of the universe, right? They're decided as just explicitly, every single phone number is...
He just made it sound like the council from the Green Lantern Corps decides on phone numbers.
Well, yeah, no, basically, phone numbers are magical numbers in the fact that everyone in a particular area is assigned the 3-digit code in the US, then another 3-digit code, and then a 4-digit code. So every single phone number is the same length, and, there's no sort of rhyme or reason other than, for example, the Space Coast. You know why they have the area code 321?
No.
Because that's the countdown numbers.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Launch. Right, but there's no actual physical relation with those numbers.
Interesting.
Yeah, so literally one of the few things that Benford's Law doesn't work for is telephone numbers. But, like I said, surface area of rivers. That actually Benford's Law works. The sizes of U.S. cities, the population size of U.S. cities, it works.
Oh, that's crazy. Because that changes all the time. I mean, but the first number wouldn't change a lot because it's a million, a billion.
But even then, the way that it's spread, it works. It also works for the physical constants.
By the way, I said a billion again, like past episodes. There's not a billion people in the United States of America, no matter how many times I say it.
No, there's about 1.2 billion people, though, in India, and they still have less coronavirus cases daily than the United States.
Sorry, any Trump voters that decided to stick with us through the last subject. We had to take another dig. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Not that we have been counting or anything. No, but it works for the physical constants of the universe. So you look at, you remember gravity is 9.87, whatever it is.
No, I don't.
9.87 meters per second. Whatever. There's a bunch of physical constants in the universe. They follow the same thing. Okay, so you take a look at episode of Reader's Digest. You look at every single number that's listed inside of the Reader's Digest. Whether it's the page numbers, whether it's numbers that they state inside the booklet, right? Hey, 15 people did this, right? You take every single number from a Reader's Digest, you pull it out, and it follows Benford's Law.
Okay, wait. But you actually just made it make more sense to me logically, because, remind me, but Benford's Law, it states that, so the first number is 1, 30% of the time it's
Yeah,
What's the next?
exactly.
What's the next biggest? 2?
2 is, of course, it goes in order. 2 is 17.
That's all it is.
3 is
It's
12.
because it's because it's the natural progression of counting. Think about the Reader's Digest. So yes, you'll have random numbers listed for other things, but on page numbers especially, you're going in order, and once you get to 10, you then have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 in a row that is 1. So now the percentage is way up here for 1. And then you have 2.
But then if there's
however long they
99
go.
pages, hold on, let's just assume there's 99 pages in there.
But are there? I don't know.
Well, but the whole point there is that over a large enough set of data, you shouldn't necessarily be able to see that.
Right.
And again,
If it goes to 100, it should even out. But otherwise, if something doesn't go to 100, it may not.
but that's only the page numbers. They also reference every single number that's referenced inside the book
And it still
itself.
all runs the thing.
It still all relates to Benford's law. It's an insane thing in statistics.
Yeah.
And again, so the other thing that was kind of crazy, so they took the top 500 people who were listed in American Men of Science. A random, it was a random book, right? So they took the top 500 people from that list. And then they looked up their street addresses. Those street addresses followed Benford's law.
Nice.
So, another example that you can do today. Go to Wikipedia. Look at the tallest 60 buildings by type. So you have the 60 different types of buildings. You look at the top size of that building. And it works when you take that number. You take that number and you apply Benford's law to it. It works. You know what makes it even weirder?
Go ahead.
It works in both feet and meters.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So it doesn't matter which way you look at it, because a meter is what 1 meter is 3-ish feet.
No idea.
So
They told me I'd have to learn it in 3rd grade. By 5th grade, they totally stopped talking about it because America won out, and they were like, screw the metric system.
Hey, your beer that you're drinking, where's that from?
Canada.
What type of number system?
I'm sure
do
they're
they
on
use
the.
there?
Hey. That wasn't me attacking the metric system. It was just me applauding America for saying, hey, we've learned enough. I don't need to learn more.
Wait, you're applauding that behavior? Because I think that's a whole separate topic. But no, so the only reason one of the few things that it doesn't work for, though, Benford's law, like you said, was telephone directory.
Right.
One of the things that Benford's law requires is different multitudes of numbers. So you need to have some numbers that are in the tens, some numbers in the hundreds, some numbers in the thousands. You need to have it spread across multiple. So phone books, for example, don't do that. Every single phone number is 3, 3, 4, so 10 digits long, right? Every single one.
Right.
And so it doesn't work. But this was actually first found, though, by a guy named Simon Newcomb in the 1800s. Late 1800s. Found it out because had to go, back then you had logarithm tables. When you had to do math, extensive logarithm math, it sucks. There's no easy way to do it by hand. He'd reference a book because somebody did the math already and they wrote it down in a damn book. And he noticed that the earlier pages, the ones that dealt with the numbers 1, starting with 1, were more used than the later pages. He made note of that. And then this guy in 1938, a physicist named Benford, came in and was like, oh, this other guy was right. And he's the one who found that.
I'm pretty sure you just said name
sorts of-
Benford, just so you know. I just want you to realize, I think you said Benford that time. I know you didn't say Bedford.
Yeah,
But-
I'm slurring. Yeah. Either way.
But yeah, so
Crazy
he came
stuff.
along and did what?
He actually did tests and wrote a paper about it, because he did the tests on things just on, I think it was 20 or 30 different random things where he got a list of numbers, and he's
fell.
like, oh, these all fell within this series where 1 is the most significant digit. It's absolutely crazy. So people have started using this to kind of determine things about the world. So, say for example, you file your taxes. You know what the IRS does? They apply the law, the physical check to kind of go through and like, hey, do the numbers line up? Like, if you have too many numbers that mismatch the Benford's Law or whatever, I think it is BEND. I don't know. Whatever. Benford's Law, if the numbers don't match that, then you get flagged for an audit. And it's like, that's one of those things that they look at. They go, oh, no, we can tell that there's something bullshitty here because the numbers that you provided don't match this physical law.
That's interesting.
It's been used in multiple court cases for numbers and such that have been put in there. And it has literally been upheld by the law because it doesn't match Benford's physical anomaly law.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Right? You think about it. It's just an insane thing. It just works.
No.
It's also been used in election fraud. So when you start to think about it...
Don't bring up election fraud at this point in the show. We're over an hour in. Yeah, I have like 37 minutes worth of material to talk about with elections right now. And how dare you? Anyways, we'll save it. Next episode, we're talking election 2020, just so you know. You just opened that can of worms. Okay, go ahead.
Cool.
So election fraud. So it works with that. How?
So again, when you start to look at you have to look at multiple series of things. Luckily, counties and then the population in different counties is very different. So, for example, Orange County has a large difference in number of voters than, say, for example, I don't know, middle of just choose any other county in Wyoming and you're done.
That's crazy.
But because of that, these numbers now have different amounts of significant digits. They have different multitudes. And so when you apply Benford's Law, it should work on that.
Right.
And if you suddenly see that it doesn't, well, then you realize, oh, wait, there's something wrong with the numbers that are being provided. So if you ever want to commit fraud, you have to make it match Benford's Law. So you have to cheat
Good to know.
the numbers. You literally have to look at the numbers that you're making and make sure it matches this curve. It's kind of like in school when you always had that one teacher who's like, too many people got an A on this test. There had to be cheating because it doesn't match the bell curve. This is the bell curve on crack.
That's awesome.
This is exactly what it is.
This has been like over the like course of decades now and thousands of examples, it sounds like.
So the bell curve works when you're looking at like number distributions across a particular set, right? And so you assume that most of them will get a C, little s, and so you got a nice little bell curve. This works on anything, and it actually works on different bases. So it doesn't just work on a number 10 base system. This actually works if you look in hexadecimal. This works on a hexadecimal base system. So if you have like
I don't know.
Hexadecimal, basically.
I'll speak up for our audience out there. What's a hexadecimal?
So I have 10 fingers, right? So I'm in a 10 base system. If, for example, I had 16 fingers, I'd be on a hexadecimal system, which is 16 different characters represent the first digit. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F in that first digit. So all it does is it increases the number of that you can represent in one single significant digit. But Benford's Law works. In fact, Benford's Law also works if you look at binary, which means you only have 0 and 1s to work with. Benford's Law doesn't care how many digits your system has.
Always works.
It works. It always works. It is the most insane magic number system I've ever seen. Like, I don't have a way to... Oh, did you? I still hear you and see you. Well, I stopped seeing you. In any case, Benford's Law is absolutely crazy. Virtual situation. And JB's internet just. So I'm gonna keep talking about how awesome Benford's Law is.
Yeah. Benford's Law always works. Yes.
It's basically where we left it off.
So we don't have to jump right back into it, but we can pretty much, and we'll just cut this out, and it'll be one recording.
Hey, we're gonna cut it out.
I'll have an editing job to do mid-recording that I don't normally have to worry about.
No, so yeah, Benford's Law, basically, it always works. That's what makes it crazy. It works no matter what you do and what you change.
That is crazy.
But yeah, so that's that's one of the things that we're gonna use to determine if there's election fraud. It's what they use to determine if there's tax fraud. It's used in legal cases. It is an indisputable.
They're not going to use Benford's Law or any other laws. They're going to let the Supreme Court decide whether or not there's been election fraud, because that is what they're already telling us in court in different states. Anyways, again, we're talking election 2020 next week. I hope you are happy that you've opened that Pandora's box, because we are.
I don't have enough alcohol for this.
Yeah, but by next week you will. I believe in you. Get something strong.
I think
it's episode 10 next week. I think we actually get to do something fun. So you got some Jaeger coming, and yeah, we're gonna make this happen.
Alrighty then. Well,
I get Goldschlager, so I don't know what that means for me.
Oh, I do not envy your liver in the morning.
Fair. But based on your laugh, I assume it's still going to be easier to pass than November 3rd or 4th, whatever election day 2020 is this year. First Tuesday in November. Please go vote. Please go vote. Whoever's listening.
Who you're voting for. I really, truly don't care if you're voting for Trump or not. I mean, I should, but I don't.
Right.
I
would rather encourage everyone to vote and let the chips fall where they may. That's what it comes down to.
Right.
Is like, hey, you guys have seen what you've seen. We all have talked about in the past media bias and blah, blah, blah. But go vote. Make sure you're voting.
Also, like and subscribe.
Oh, also like and subscribe. Oh, does that mean we're starting to wrap up this episode?
I don't really have much else for Benford's Law unless you have questions.
No, yeah, like I say, all I wanted to do was make the Tim the Toolman Taylor joke. So I think I pulled that off successfully a couple times. So I have nothing else on it.
But it also is just a crazy thing that exists.
I hope like the Hawaii thing, like I don't mind us having subjects that's like, hey, teach me something I don't know. That's really cool. I had never heard about that. And like, it's crazy to me that they've looked at it over, it sounds like literally thousands of examples. I would imagine the number of examples they've looked at it over would actually fall under Benford's Law in some way or another. You're like, I'm not sure, but I want to find out.
Actually, I doubt that you're wrong. Yeah, I think that you're absolutely correct.
Probably. But anyways, so you threw out a like and subscribe there. Please, whoever still is listening at this point, you must love us in some way or another. Or at least pity us in some way that you should.
Either that or somebody is holding you hostage and you should do what they say.
How did you know I made my wife watch this every week? Anyways, go ahead. But the point being, yes, we appreciate all of our viewers, all of our listeners. www.alcoholicallycorrect.com, at alcoholscorrect on Twitter and I think Facebook, right?
I think so.
I think you lined that up, and then but just Google some Alcoholically Correct. You'll find us, guys. If you're listening to this, you can find us. What's that?
I'm pretty sure we're the only ones who use that.
I think so. I've never heard it anywhere else. I like it a lot, but hopefully you guys do too. Zach, anything else to leave them on this week?
No, I think I'm all set. Are you as well?
I think so. We're going to cheers to that.
All right. We may not always be correct, but we will always be alcoholically
correct. Cheers.
Cheers.